Of these, when they're dead, they shall give judgment in the meadow at the crossroads from which the true roads lead, one to the islands of the blessed, the other to Tartarus. And Rhadamanthus should judge those from Asia, Achaeus those from Europe, and Minos, whenever they have any doubts, it will be decided by Minos, the mean. He will judge. He will therefore have more mind. Being more mindful, he should be therefore at the top of our triangle, for that's the position of mind in every case, existence of mind. And so, wait a minute. There's another possibility of putting Minos here. So the question is whether or not, just formally, whether or not you're talking about the existence of mind, then it's here, or you're talking about the functioning of mind here between these two. But these two have to be opposites, extremes, and and that's the way that's settled. You have to have the opposites, the one in the mean. Okay, let me go back to that, because there's two ways you can represent that. I shall give the prerogative of passing sentence on appeal when the other two have any doubts, and so the judgment of a man's last journey shall be rendered with the utmost justice. Now, what's the judgment? What are these judgments that are going to be made? Whether they make them, or whether when in doubt, Minos makes them. Now, he has now a very interesting analogy. Right? And what he's going to do is talk about the effect that life has on the body, and the relations are going to be similar on the soul. So therefore he's going to use terms for the one and pass them over to the second. Let's see how he does it. This, Callicles, is what I have heard and I believe to be true, and from this narrative I draw some such inference as this. Death, as I think, turns out to be merely a divorce of two things, the soul from the body. And when they have separated one from each other, right, each of them still retains much the same condition as it had while the man was living. The body retains its natural contours, see? The body, watch now, retains the natural contours with the marks of its upbringing and its experiences quite manifest. The marks, that's the key term which we need for our next exploration. The body, every effect that you have, of course, imprints on the body, but it also imprints on the soul. He's then going to use these terms, which are appropriate in the physical realm, but he's going to find parallels functioning on another level for the level of the soul. Let's see how he does it. For example, if a man's body was quite large when he was alive, either naturally or the result of diet, or both, when he dies, his corpse will be large. If it was fat, the corpse will be fat, and so on. If he has long hair, the corpse will have long hair. If he's used to be beaten and have the marks and scars and lashes or blows and other wounds of his body while alive, these may be still seen on the body when he's dead. Or if he had any limbs broken or distorted during life and death, these same are going to be plainly visible. Here comes this principle. In a word, whatever characteristics of a man's body presented in life, these remain visible in death, either all of them or most of them for some little time. Next up, now the same state of affairs appears to me to hold true for the soul. Now we're going on the level of soul. When it has been stripped of the body, everything in it becomes visible, all its natural traits, as well as those acquired from every habit and every pursuit. Therefore, we have the imprint on our soul of every habit and every pursuit we've ever gotten engaged in. Therefore, all kinds of learning, all kinds of experiences are going to be visible on the soul. When, therefore, the dead appear before the judge, those from Asia before Rhadamanthus, he causes them to halt before him and examine each soul with no knowledge of its identity. Often, indeed, he has laid hold on the king of Persia or some other monarch or despot, and discern nothing sound in the soul, for it's deeply scarred by the whip and full of festering wounds, brought on by perjury and crime. These now are going to be the marks on the soul, and these are going to be the kinds of things that have produced them. For it is deeply scarred by the whip and full of festering wounds brought on by perjury and crime, the imprint on the soul of its very and every act. It sees all of it twisted by lies and imposture. Crooked, because it has received no nourishment of truth. It sees in compact or of distortion and hideousness by reason of irresponsibility and licentiousness. And when he has seen such a soul, he sends it in all dishonor straight off to the prison where it's destined to enter and undergo the sufferings that are its due. Now we're going to get a means. See, before we only had those two realms. It was either Tartarus or the Blessed Islands. Now we're going to get the mid-region, where it is possible for the soul to be sent and yet return. Everyone who is punished and rightly punished either ought to be benefited or become better or serve as an example to others, that they may behold these sufferings and through fear become better. Those that are benefited by their punishment at the hands of men and gods are they that have committed only curable sins. The curable return, the incurable stay. Nonetheless, their improvement must come through the pangs of suffering, both here and in Hades. Only in this way can they be rid of their wrongdoing. But those who have committed the extreme of injustice, incurable, they serve an example to others. They benefit? Not at all, since they're incurable. Yet others may do so when they observe these malefactors suffering in the greatest and most painful and the most fearful torments because of their sins, strung up forever in the prison house of Hades, as a portent, a warning to the unjust as they arrive below. And one of these, I say, is Archelaus. If Polus tells about him is true, or any other tyrant who resembles him, and now he makes his claim about the nature of the incurable. If power, if authority and power, position, authority and power, tyrant, invariably incurable.
That would be a different kind of power than that triangle.
Yeah. Yes. This political power. Yeah. Thank you. I'll put it in.
Is it political power or abuse of political power? Because if a philosopher king would be...
That's absolutely right. He said it can go in two ways. For him, nearly everyone goes this way, and very few ever can endure that kind of power and authority without committing some injustice. That's very rare. Therefore, his suggestion is avoid power entirely. Avoid politics. It is, Callicles, from the ranks of the powerful that the supremely wicked are drawn. Yet there's nothing to prevent a good man from being found in the